Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Insurance Journal Academy of Insurance's weekly webinar after show. And this is a special weekly webinar after show because it's not just a webinar, it's an event. It's the after show for our latest How to Write class. So joining me for the after show today is the director of the Academy of Insurance, Mr. Patrick Wraight, and today's subject matter expert. It was How to Write Flood, and today's subject matter expert is the excuse me, the Chief Customer Officer of Neptune Flood, Mr. Jean-Luc Eckstein. Jean-Luc, welcome to the after show. It's great to have you here.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for an amazing presentation today. I was curious, you're the Chief Customer Officer, and it sounds like you do a lot with customers, but also internal customers. Like the class was about teaching people, getting acquainted with how Neptune writes and how agents can get started with writing for Neptune. Do you work with internal customers as much as you do external customers, or what does a chief customer officer do all day? Is it just one kind of customer?
Good question. No, here at Neptune, we have two primary customers. So we have the agent, in my case, and that's who I primarily work with on a day-to-day basis, but we also have policyholders. And so those are our two customers at Neptune from my perspective. The agent base and making sure that they have the right tools, the enablement to have the conversation around flood insurance and spread the gospel of flood insurance, but then policyholders, because I want to know how we are doing and what we need to improve. And so I engage with policyholders, and particularly here in the Tampa Bay area, post a flood event. I want to make sure that I have the right pulse on everything that's going on.
Excellent. And in terms of your background, we had you as joining Neptune, but before that you were with CDW, where you managed software. You sold software and hardware, and you've got a sales career, tech data that you had before that. What do you bring to the Chief Customer Officer title from those backgrounds? Like, is there a lot you bring? Did you have to kind of acquire a whole new bunch of skill sets and expertise to be the Chief Customer Officer? I just love that title, Chief Customer Officer, so I'm saying it a bunch of times.
Yeah, no, the biggest thing that I've brought from those two prior experiences is that in those prior experiences, I did a lot around software sales. At Neptune, we think of ourselves as a software sales company where our output just happens to be flood insurance. And so the sales cycle of working with agents, the cycle of working with policyholders, the experience I had both at Tech Data and then, of course, at CW has really helped me to formalize our own internal agent distribution team and our own policyholder team. So that's the biggest piece that I brought over.
Thank you. Patrick, welcome to the after show. What do you think of the topic of flood? We do a lot of flood classes with the Academy, but what did you think of the topic in general, but also with Jean-Luc's presentation today in particular?
Yeah, absolutely. This, to me, is one of the topics that we need to be doing a lot of talking about, because number one, I am not a fan of the NFIP. I think it's a broken system, and it doesn't provide what the consumer truly needs, what the insurance buying public needs as far as flood coverage. And I believe that partnering with Neptune for this class really was, I felt like an eye opener to anybody who pays attention to this, because not only is it a superior product, but it's created in such a way, and Neptune has done this in such a way that it's really a case study in spreading risk, right? Because and I lost track of the number of carriers, but as an MGA, you all are working with multiple carriers writing this product, the peril of flood, on residential and commercial properties. But you're spreading that risk among all those several carriers to reduce the overall exposure that any one carrier faces, and thereby really making flood more accessible as a coverage. Because that's, at the end of the day, I think that it should be, because there are far more risks out there that need flood cover than anybody's telling them they do.
Yeah, I totally agree with all of that. And, the NFIP has served a purpose, and I think it will continue to serve a purpose, especially for high risk flood properties. But, if we think about Florida in particular, there's only 13% of properties in the state of Florida that have flood insurance today. It should be 100%. And so the need for flood insurance in the state of Florida, but also across the United States, is great. And the conversations need to happen. And we just hope to help agents enable them to have those conversations. And that's through those tools like Atlas I explained. And so that's hopefully helpful in the discussions that agents have with their customers.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, and I forget the exact number, but it's well over 90% of counties in the United States have experienced a flood event in the last decade.
Yep,
and that's more than just the A zones. It's like you mentioned with Houston and Hurricane Harvey. The NFIP maps did not anticipate the water runoff or the inability to handle water runoff in a major rain event. And that should have been the eye opener for anybody paying attention, to me.
Yeah, exactly right. And I mentioned Hurricane Harvey in Houston, but this is also more recently in Hurricane Helene last year. We saw in the but in the Jacksonville area of Florida, and then even further north into Asheville, North Carolina. And that's exactly what we saw from all the runoff, and that wasn't accounted for in the flood maps.
Absolutely. Jean-Luc, how can agents that want to write with Neptune Flood get in touch with you, and how can customers that want to buy flood policies from you get in touch with you? Can you you gave your contact information at the end of the class, but if you could maybe give that again, that'd be great.
Yeah. So if customers are looking for flood insurance or a quote from Neptune, please contact your agent. Agent will be able to log into Neptune or contact us and get their login credentials. The credentials, if they need the credentials for Neptune, they can come to neptuneflood.com, log in as an agent, and then right there on that page will either be you can log in if you have your credentials, or if you're brand new to Neptune and need credentials, just go ahead and click New Agent Start, and it'll have them enroll in the process with Neptune, and they get the credentials very quickly thereafter, and then immediately have access to the system. If anyone needs to reach out directly to me, I can be reached at 813-215-0455 or my email, jean-luc@neptuneflood.com.
Thank you so much. Patrick, any final words on flood?
Yeah, I saw one of the questions from our session today, and I think it's pertinent in our conversation here, and it's probably straightforward. As a tech company, MGA for these under carriers, what does your standard processing time look like from application to coverage bound to policy available?
Standard time across the board for all of ours is, most agents will bind the same day that they've quoted, but it'll be subject to a 10-day wait period. That's on average in our book. But also for the ones that don't bind that same day, generally agents come back within 4 to 7 days and then bind that policy. So there's some discussion going on between the agent and the insured, and generally that's anywhere between 4 and 7 days. And then we see, anywhere between, when agents offer flood all the time, the conversion ratio or that hit ratio is about 30%.
And that's pretty good, actually. I mean, when you consider that you're likely a much broader customer base than those that are going to the NFIP, because many times they're told they have to because of law, federal law that says if you're in a particular flood zone, you've got to have flood. And many times people aren't quoting unless they absolutely have to. But this feels like a great way to provide added value to a book of business.
Absolutely. More policies per relationship. So more loyalty and stickiness for the agent, for the customer. And then also, a way to protect their E&O. There was a lot of E&O claims, specifically out of the Hurricane Harvey and Houston scenario. And so it's just another mechanism to say, hey, look, I'm going to offer flood insurance. It's my duty as an insurance agent, but then also in doing so, I'm protecting myself from an E&O exposure.
Yeah. Fantastic. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Patrick Wraight, Director of Education for the Academy of Insurance, thank you so much. And Jean-Luc Eckstein, thank you in particular for your time and your expertise and your knowledge today. Once we have the class configured for on demand, Anybody that has checked out this after show can visit the Academy of Insurance and see it for free, courtesy of our sponsor, Neptune Flood. So, gentlemen, thank you so much, both of you, for your time today. And reach out to Jean-Luc with questions. And for Patrick and Jean-Luc, this is your host, George, saying thanks, everyone, for coming today. And we'll see you soon. Have a great day, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.